Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Inayet Wadee, currently with SalaamMedia in Johannesburg, South Africa. I am here in my capacity as an on-air presenter and having had close to 19 years of experience in the media and in broadcasting. Some of the key focus areas that I have been involved in include global issues, current affairs, politics, religion, socio-economic dynamics, and Islamic finance. And one of the key areas of my focus has been around the global developments in the Muslim world on various levels, whether they have been economic, socio-economic, or even on the political spectrum, and generally looking at Muslims around the world and what impacts on Muslims and Muslim lifestyle in general. Now, at the outset, I'd like to thank the organizers of this, the second virtual Halal International Conference, because this is a wonderful initiative. It is highly informative and, more importantly, connecting a wide spectrum of interest groups and organizations that are major players in the world halal space. Now, at Salam Media, one of the key areas that we are focused on, and we are honored actually to be part of this initiative and to be able to contribute meaningfully to the aims, to the objectives, and also the outcomes of the event of this nature. Now, just a bit about Salam Media, and we have been founded in January 2016. So we are a relatively new player in the media space in South Africa. But we do have specific aims and objectives that go beyond what is termed as traditional broadcasting or traditional journalism, because it is not about just the talk, it is about walking the talk. And at Salam Media, some of the specific aims and objectives are telling human stories and at the same time providing inspiration to our audience to become active citizens and to participate in various aspects that impact on life in general. Now, in a nutshell, for us at Salam Media, one of the key issues here is about changing reality, about being humanitarian, and also about activism and journalism coming together to forge a better future, a brighter future for people of South Africa and also our audience in general. And when we talk about walking the talk, when we talk about changing the world, we look at the concept of halal or Islamic lifestyles. Now, looking at it from a media perspective, we consider this topic to be extremely important. And some of the issues that I'd like to cover in this presentation is to look at the role of the media and what role the media can play in the halal lifestyle space. Now, it is clear that Islam contains many rules, many regulations regarding our daily lives, about how our daily lives are being governed, and more importantly, in terms of human relationships. Now, this is where we look at the primary sources, which are the Quran and the Hadith of our noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to look at the prohibitions, whether they are considered harmful to the body, to the mind, to the soul, and also at the same time to look at what is beneficial and permissible or halal. And it is against this premise that Islamic media plays a major role in terms of promoting and adhering to strict Islamic values and principles. Now, when one looks at the ethical principle that is prescribed in Islam and how Muslim media embraces this in every form, in every dimension, and looking at some of the dynamics that encompass the moral principles, we encourage as Muslims oneness, freedom, justice, responsibility, kindness, accountability, unity. Now, these are all moral principles that we define or that will define to us what is right, what is wrong, what is halal, what is haram, what is allowed, what is prohibited, And this ultimately will determine complete conformance to an Islamic or a halal lifestyle. Now, when one puts all of this together, it tells us one thing. There is a direct relationship or a direct connection between Islamic ethical behavior and Muslim society at large. And this relationship extends at every level, on a social level, political, economic, and socio-economic level. And it is this behavior that determines the outcomes in more ways than one across the entire Muslim society. And when we look at Muslim society, it starts off from a family structure, extending it into communities, into societies, and ultimately globally. Because we are one ummah, we share common beliefs and we share common value systems. Now, it is against this background when we discuss the role of Muslim or Islamic media in promoting and propagating an Islamic lifestyle. We find that media has a key role to play. It is a key and a critical component and an important player in promoting the Islamic belief system. At the same time, we must also bear in mind that unlike media in the mainstream, which is founded on consumerism, it is founded on commercial principles, it is founded on sensationalism. This is where we as Islamic or Muslim media differ. Because when one looks at mainstream media, there is very little accountability. There is very little to even look at authenticity of news sources. But as Muslim media, we must adhere to the same set of Islamic rulings and guiding principles that are guiding each and every human being. And at the same time, we are responsible, we are accountable. We are accountable to our Creator, we are accountable in terms of our belief systems, we are accountable in terms of our value systems, and most importantly, it is about ethical behavior according to Islam. And this is what a halal lifestyle space is all about. It is about ethical behavior according to Islam. It is about ethical relationships. It is about ethical consumption in each and every way. Now, the critical question that we need to also ask ourselves is, where does the media fit in the equation in the global halal picture? Now, to answer this, I'd like to cite the South African example, and this is the country where I live in. To a large extent, South Africa, sadly, we have not yet sold or even totally embraced the concept of a halal lifestyle. There have been limitations, and we have limited ourselves to food, for instance, and that is what many believe a halal lifestyle is all about. Also, at the same time, we've looked at a few consumable items, things like cosmetic ranges and the like. And to an extent, we have embraced Islam or Sharia compliant finance as part of our halal lifestyle. But as media, this is where we have a role to play and a major contribution to make. We have the responsibility to inform, to inspire, and educate our audiences and the masses at large that by using the media platform that we have a form of mass communication that reaches an audience and has the power to impact or influence that audience. Now, especially when media consists of broadcasting, of publishing, and also looking at the digital media space and also internet platforms. Media expands beyond what we call popular mainstream news sources because alternative media or Islamic media, particularly playing in the halal lifestyle space, has a greater responsibility to incorporate the needs and the demands of society. So, as SalaamMedia, when we look at Muslim media in general, we realize that we have this critical role to play. We realize that as a media organization, we need to become the means to inspire in creating opportunities in the global halal industry. And what I'm saying is not only limited to South Africa. When one looks at the African continent, and I know one of the themes at this year's conference is a focus on Africa, and looking at the African continent with a majority Muslim population, the African continent is still virgin territory. that needs to be seized, that need to be exploited in more ways than one to grow the concept of a halal lifestyle. One of the biggest opportunities that we as an alternative media face and we must embrace is to continuously promote the concept of a halal lifestyle. We must provide exposure through the use of media to showcase what a halal lifestyle is. At the same time, to look at developments right across the entire world, what is playing out in the halal space, considering there is a huge growth, a massive growth in the halal industry worldwide. At the same time, also tap into the expertise, tap into the skills of the many experts, the academics, and other role players who are already entrenched and who are deeply involved in the global halal space. This is where the media has a major role to play in terms of showcasing these people and also at the same time to bring to South Africa, to bring to the African continent what is taking place in the halal space right across the entire world. Now, we cannot underestimate the role and the power of the media. If I look at the Indonesian example, for instance, this is just one of the many parts around the world where halal has become a lifestyle. And this trend that is spreading out amongst many communities has come as a result of the media. And in the Indonesian example, when one looks at the tendency, an organization or a media organization called Net TV has been one of the media industries that presents a program called Halal Living. Now, this program contains information about travel, about halal food, about fashion, hijab, health and beauty. And this is all closely related to the life of a Muslim and a halal lifestyle. And all of this put together has created an impression, and this is obviously spread positive and acceptable messages to the public. So when one looks at the media, it is about information, but also at the same time, marketing. And as a marketing tool, every medium that the media has at its disposal at this point in time must present or promote the halal concept. At SalaamMedia, we have experienced the power of digital media. And for a long time, we have incorporated social media and digital media as an integral part of our broadcasting. We have recognized the role of social media in Islamic marketing strategy, in development, and our social media platforms have emerged as key communication tools in maintaining our relationship with our listeners, but also at the same time using it as a form of a marketing tool. And until now, we say Alhamdulillah that we have achieved great success in facilitating ongoing two-way communication between us, the media, and our audiences. Now, despite being a minority in South Africa, there is still a growing interest in the field of Islamic marketing. When one looks at Muslim consumption, when one looks at consumer behavior in South Africa, there is great interest. And that is why Islamic marketing is so critical. It is so important because when one looks at Islamic media, we have realized that we need to market to reach our audiences, but also at the same time, there are many other players outside of Islamic media who are obviously endeavoring to do the same. Now, together with the content that we produce, and when one looks at our main purpose of spreading information, it is not only about creating awareness, it is not only creating about an understanding, but it is utilizing our platform for promoting and celebrating Islamic culture, Islamic value systems, the Islamic lifestyle. And when one looks at the world that is inundated with various forms of entertainment, there is also a huge industry in South Africa, and I suppose in Africa as well, where opportunities are existing in what is termed as infotainment. Infotainment. Now, infotainment is entertainment, which is termed as halal entertainment, but at the same time, it does provide a lot of information about Islam. And This is where one looks at things like nasheeds. When one looks at young people who are looking for alternatives to entertainment that they see around the world, and from an Islamic or from a media perspective, this is truly appealing to many sections of society. And when you look at the world, the Muslim world in general, with a relatively young Muslim population, it is important for us to find the right balance in media that would appeal to the younger generations, but also people in the older generation category and people right across the world in general. So when one looks at entertainment, people are looking out for new methods of entertainment. They are looking at an entertainment industry that provides an educational content. And globally, when one looks at the entertainment industry, it is large, it is growing, and worldwide, the overall media and entertainment market is currently valued at an estimated of $1.9 trillion. Now, traditionally, Islamic media has focused on addressing the needs of the Muslim community, but there are still many, many opportunities to maximize our reach as Islamic media across the global Muslim community to Muslims as well as non Muslims who are interested in learning about Islam and an Islamic lifestyle. Now, when one looks at these opportunities, they have the potential for Islamic media to take a major penetration in more ways than one. Now, instead of just limiting ourselves to consumption, we need to move to another level. We need to change the dynamics. We need to change our thinking. We need to change our strategies as Islamic media. Islamic media and the content produced by Islamic media has the potential to play a unifying role across the Islamic world. And this, when we talk of the Islamic world, we're talking of both the Muslim nations and the Islamic world in nations where Muslims are of a minority. And all of this comes as a result of one reason is we have common values and we obviously have exactly the same belief system. Now, one of the biggest problems that we as a media organization face, or media right across the world, and this is preventing the growth of halal media, is the one that is with regard to unity, disunity, and when we have major issues or major disagreements, particularly on religious belief systems. Now, this is an area that one needs to focus on as well to make sure that we are unified, both in terms of ideology, but also at the same time, the message that needs to go across. Now, the second problem here would be limited funding opportunities for media. And currently, there is a gap in quality as far as talent is concerned. And we need to have more people on board when it comes to media, but also in terms of funding opportunities for media. Because with the right approach, with the right strategy, it is important to address some of these gaps that appear in the Muslim media industry. In a world that we find that had recently in the last few years or in the last 20 years or so, we find that the world has become very, very hostile to Islam. Islamophobia has been on the rise in many parts around the world. Muslims have come under the radar. And this is where the role of Muslim media is becoming increasingly important. And to obviously rebalance, but also at the same time, the common misconceptions that exist with regard to Islam and Islamic values. This is where Muslim media is playing a major role to try and make sure that at the end of the day, any misconceptions that people have about Islam is to promote Islam in its true, in its pure, in its pristine form, and also to negate any negative attitudes or negative perceptions as far as Islam is concerned. Now, when it comes to partnerships, this is where the media has an extremely important role to play. Because with partnerships, we find that in our experience here in South Africa, in terms of partnering with Islamic economic sectors, These are key selling points for Islamic media. And when we talk about the Islamic economy sectors, we're talking about business. We talk of partnering with the likes of non-governmental organizations. We talk of relief organizations and also organizations that are promoting a halal lifestyle. Now, these includes at this point in time Islamic banking. We're talking of the insurance industry. We look at the financial sector in general, and also with regards to addressing the halal consumer needs. Now, another critical area or a critical aspect that needs to be explored is in the space of digital media. Now, there is a clear and a significant growth as far as digital media is concerned. And when one looks at Islamic media, when one looks at entrepreneurship, the particular form of media that is on the rise at this point in time is digital media. There is a rising demand at this point in time for Islamic media content. And when one looks at television, for instance, there is a huge demand, there is a massive demand for TV content at this point in time. But also at the same time, looking at other areas, I've spoken about news, I've spoken about entertainment, but also as part of an Islamic lifestyle. And we've seen it with the COVID-19 virus, the impact that it's had right across the entire world, the impact it's had on little children, on young children, on those that are studying in colleges and universities. There is a huge gap at this point in time for e-learning, and e-learning as part of the halal or the Islamic halal lifestyle, because with the world that has changed, and I'm certain we will not see the same world, especially in the short term, even once we get out of this pandemic. So there are many, many opportunities from an e-learning perspective and using the digital media platform to to promote to promote halal and the halal lifestyle. Now, at this point in time, when one looks at the one critical aspect is we find that as media, it is still very much fragmented. And although many developments or many ventures have taken place, we don't have a global standard as far as media or Muslim media is concerned against a background of a halal lifestyle. And I think we are not leveraging enough to be able to exploit halal media to its full potential. And this is an area that requires focus. A lot of work needs to be done for the media. And more importantly, when one looks at competing with the mainstream, we have got a huge role to play in terms of competing with the mainstream and for the media to become a major role player in the global halal industry. International standards are required, and also at the same time, one needs to leverage enough as far as investments are concerned, and also a lot more needs to be put into the halal media space. Now, to conclude and to summarize my presentation from a media perspective, whether we coin the phrase Muslim, Islamic, or halal, at the end of the day, media will still remain very much a vital part of the whole overall halal industry. It has the potential to contribute in a huge manner, both from a support perspective, in supporting the various halal initiatives right across the entire world, and also the halal industry in general. But also, the point I wish to raise, which is an important point, is we need to start seeing an experience in growth within media to make an impact. At this point in time, many of the media outlets right across the world, apart from mainstream media in the Muslim world, but when one looks at the world where Muslims are in a minority, a lot of media is focused mainly around local issues, around community issues. And this is where the media needs to break out of this mindset that it is not just about focusing on local issues, because what happens right across the entire world impacts on us on a local level and on a societal level as well. And this is where We look at media in a global sense to be able to contribute globally right across the world. And particularly now, being in the digital media space, where your reach is right across the entire world and not limited only to a certain audience. This is where we need to start thinking globally and not locally at all. So, with the right approach, with us positioning ourselves strategically, Islamic media, whether we look at content, whether we look at marketing, whether we look at advertising, whether we look at it as an information provider or as an entertainment, it has the ability to reach the masses, to fulfill some of the aims, some of the objectives. And when I looked at the objectives and the aims of the second edition of the Halal conference, it is to highlight ethical components and at the same time becoming sustainable in all aspects of halal, and more importantly, to highlight the opportunities of the halal industries. Now, these are opportunities that we have, considering that the halal market is a growing market. It is one of the fastest growing markets right across the entire world. And this is where we need to grab the opportunity. We need to seize the opportunity. We need to grab it with both hands. And together with the media, together with all the other organizations that have supported the World Halal Initiative, or that are working tirelessly towards the halal lifestyle space, it's important for us in the media to be the support base and to be able to assist, to be able to promote, and to be able to make an impact so that we have full realization. We have people, we have a Muslim community, we have a Muslim ummah that is informed, that is educated, and that can take advantage of the opportunities that have been presented to them. And with that, I just want to conclude by saying that once again, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving us at SalaamMedia the opportunity for being part and parcel of the Halal conference, and at the same time, also looking ahead at some of the other initiatives that that will come out of this conference, obviously, and also ensuring that we as a media in South Africa, as SalaamMedia, we will provide full support at every given opportunity to the initiatives and to the grand objectives of Halal conference going forward. And with that, I'd say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.